Imagine for a moment that the most powerful force shaping your ambition, your creativity, and even your capacity to conquer life challenges is quietly flowing through you every single day. Most men never even realize it because they have been conditioned to waste it without a second thought. History, philosophy, and now even cutting-edge neuroscience all whisper the same message. The seed of life is also the seed of greatness. What you choose to do with your sexual energy determines whether you remain distracted and drained or rise into focus, drive, and success. So let me ask you, what would happen if instead of constantly releasing that force, you learned to hold it, redirect it, and transform it into fuel for your mind, and your body, and your ambitions? Would you not unlock a deeper version of yourself that feels almost limitless? As if hidden potential you never knew you had suddenly came alive? If that question already stirs something in you, then you are exactly where you need to be. In this journey, we are going to strip away myths, challenge what you thought you knew about desire and discipline, and dive into the controversial but life-changing reality of semen retention. Before we go further, if you are ready to explore these deeper layers with like-minded seekers, join the Telegram channel linked in the description. That is where the uncensored discussions happen, because some truths cannot be spoken openly here. Now, let us start with the paradox. We live in a world obsessed with instant gratification. Pleasure is one click away. A man can exhaust his life force in seconds, leaving him hollow and wondering why motivation fades, why concentration slips, and why ambition dissolves into procrastination. But what if I told you the very act of not giving in to that instant release builds a reservoir of energy that your brain begins to rewire into ambition, confidence, and resilience? Energy is never lost. It only transforms. You withhold it, it seeks new pathways, into sharper thought, into deeper concentration, into a magnetic presence that others can sense, even if they cannot explain it, like an aura that commands attention. The science of neuroplasticity supports this. Every repeated action carves pathways in the brain. When you break the old pattern of compulsive release, your brain begins to forge a new one associated with restraint, clarity, and direction. This is why men who practice semen retention often describe an almost electric intensity coursing through them, as if their very biology is whispering, "Use this energy for more." Think about evolution for a moment. Psychology reminds us that survival and reproduction have always been the twin engines driving human behavior. When you hold back reproductive energy, you create a strange but powerful psychological paradox. Your mind still knows that you are capable of creating life, but because you are not discharging that capacity, it pushes you toward building symbolic offspring. Projects, businesses, art, innovation, things that will outlive you. This is why so many men who walk this path suddenly find themselves with an unstoppable urge to create, to compete, to conquer. Nature hates unused potential. It demands expression. The man who resists his base urge finds his higher urges magnified. Is it not strange that society tells you to indulge constantly? Yet the men we secretly admire, the warriors, the visionaries, the leaders, were often marked by discipline, by restraint, by a refusal to waste what others treat so cheaply. If you doubt this, look at the monks who radiate calm power. Look at the athletes who channel intensity. Look at the entrepreneurs who seem to vibrate with restless energy. Whether they name it or not, many have discovered the same principle. Hold the energy and it will transform you. Let us get more provocative. Why is it that when a man is on retention, women seem to notice him more? His presence feels heavier, his eye contact deeper, his aura magnetic. Skeptics dismiss this as superstition. But social dynamics research shows that subtle cues like posture, voice, resonance, and focus shift dramatically. When a man feels internally powerful, sexual energy retained is felt unconsciously by others. It is biology broadcasting itself without words, a silent signal that says, "Here is a man who is disciplined, potent, dangerous." People, whether men or women, instinctively respond. But here's the catch. Retention is not about repression, it is about transmutation. About learning to take that raw primal charge and direct it toward goals that matter. If you just bottle it up without purpose, frustration builds and you implode. If you align it with a mission, a craft, a vision, it becomes the rocket fuel that lifts you above mediocrity. This is where neuroscience ties in again. When your brain senses the urge and you do not give in, it rewards you with heightened dopamine sensitivity. Ordinary goals like finishing your work, crushing a workout, or building your business start to feel more rewarding. Your reward circuitry is not fried by constant overstimulation. It is sharpened, alive, hungry. When that hunger has no outlet and wasted release, it finds one in achievement. Now imagine waking up with that fire every day, feeling it in your gut, in your chest, your thoughts, realizing you are no longer just surviving but channeling something that feels ancient, almost sacred. As if you have tapped into the same energy that built civilizations and forged warriors. That is not poetic exaggeration. It is psychological reality. A man on retention begins to see himself not as a consumer of cheap pleasure, but as a producer of lasting impact. The shift is so radical, it often shocks those around him, as they wonder why he seems different, more grounded, more certain. Maybe you have already experienced glimpses of this when you went a few weeks without release and noticed your focus sharpen. Imagine sustaining that, compounding it, riding it like a wave that keeps rising. That is when retention stops being an experiment and becomes a way of life. The mainstream will laugh at this. They will say it is pseudoscience. They will say it is unnecessary. But every paradigm shift in history looked absurd at first. Every truth that challenged comfort was ridiculed before it was respected. The question you must ask is not whether they approve, but whether this transforms you. The proof is in your experience, in your energy, in your results. Here's the uncomfortable but liberating truth. Semen retention is not just about sex. It is about identity. It is about whether you choose to be a slave to impulse or a master of energy. When you step into mastery, every part of your life shifts. Your conversations gain depth. Your relationships gain respect. Your work gains intensity. Your inner dialogue becomes clearer. Instead of leaking power, you are storing it, sculpting it, shaping it into the man you want to be. Tell me, is that not the ultimate success? To know that you are not at the mercy of desire, but desire is at the service of your vision. As we close this journey, let me leave you with this. The world does not need more men chasing release. It needs more men radiating purpose. More men who embody focus. More men who prove that discipline is the new rebellion. In a culture drowning in indulgence, restraint is revolutionary. The man who holds his energy becomes the man who holds the world. If this message resonated, if you felt the spark, remember, this is not just knowledge. It is a call to action. Live it, test it, prove it to yourself. If you want to support more work like this, to help spread these conversations that challenge the mainstream, consider hitting the thanks button below. Even the smallest contribution matters. Together, we can keep this fire alive.